Okay, we might get started. Good morning, everyone. My name is Jeremy Tobias, and I'm the CEO at GiveEasy, and I'd like to extend a very warm welcome to you all this morning. Thanks for giving up your time. We're very excited to talk to you about giving days, really how to supercharge your giving day and how to take it to the next level. In a climate where, most organizations have now run a giving day. So this session is really all about supercharging, giving you some tips and tricks to take your giving day to the next level. We want you to come away from this session with one or two or three ideas that you can take back to your team that's different, that's new, and that puts you away from the rest. We're really excited to have Jonathan Grapsis, who is founder and director at Fundraising Every here with us today. GiveEasy and Fundraising Every have a very long history. We were just talking about it before, and we reckon that we've been working together for over 12 years. This is our first, would you believe it, our first webinar, our joint webinar together. GiveEasy's come a long way. We've gone from an app to a brand new fundraising platform. And I still remember that was it the flat Earth or the I'm not
Oh,
sure what it is, Jono.
we don't talk about that. We've moved on
Yeah,
from that, Jez.
but in all seriousness, Fundraising Every and GiveEasy have established a robust, amazing relationship based on hard work and loyalty, and we've seen some amazing results from our clients. So a really big welcome to Jono, and we're really excited to get some of your insights
Thanks.
today.
Thanks, Jez. Happy to be here.
So what are we going to cover? And we're going to keep this session pretty informal. We will have some time for some questions at the end. So there is a Q&A. Please put the questions there. We'll make sure that we cover them at the end. We're gonna break this up into the state of play of giving days. A quick snapshot of where giving days are today in 2025. We're gonna break this up into planning, how to really supercharge that planning stage. You've got weeks. Some organizations hopefully have months to plan that giving day. What can you do to make your giving day feel different? And how can you create that buzz within your organization? We're then going to focus on the day, whether it's 12 hours or 24 hours, how to make use of every single hour or, should I say minute of that giving day, how to let tech do the work for you on the day. What happens in different scenarios, planning for those scenarios. And then we're going to focus on what do you do after the day. Everyone breathes a big sigh of relief. You've hopefully hit your goal. You've hopefully hit your bonus rounds. You hopefully smashed your target. How do we thank our donors? How do we track? And we also wanted to spend a little bit of time with you on a very special day, which was last month with very special kids. Both Fundraising Every and GiveEasy were fortunate to partner with Catherine and her team at Very Special Kids. And we just wanted to take you through some of those key snapshots and then, of course, leave some room for Q&A. So again, please feel free to write some questions. This is an informal session. We really want you to benefit from some of the insights that we're going to share with you. So just really quickly on myself, I'm Jeremy. I'm the CEO at GiveEasy. I've been running GiveEasy for the last 12 years. We've recently rebuilt our entire digital fundraising platform. If you haven't given it a whirl, urge you to. Really passionate about frictionless payments, one-click donations, what's the digital and desktop experience, tracking, automation, helping small, medium, and large charities across their giving days, across their tax appeals. Obviously, Christmas is coming up, emergency appeals and gala dinners, and really refining and optimizing the donation experience for their donors to make their pages look beautiful, but also just as importantly, get that gift from their donors. Jono, I might pass it over to you.
Thanks, Jez. Yeah, I'm Jono Grapsis from Fundraising Every, as Jeremy mentioned before. And I guess just for context, why I'm here kind of co-presenting with Jeremy. It's only taken us 12 years to do a session together. Is that, yeah, our real sort of area of expertise, I should say, is in the individual giving space. And over the last 5 years, Giving Days has played a huge role in that. And I think recently we undertook our 50th Giving Day. The very first one was actually with Jeremy. And I can confidently say that Jeremy taught me a lot about Giving Days, certainly in the early days. And we've been really fortunate to partner with him on quite a few of those 50 odd Giving Days over the last few years. And quite happy to say, although Jeremy would probably blush and get really embarrassed, Give Easy is the best Giving Day platform in Australia, hands down. There are some other really good ones, but the functionality, the ease, the frictionless donation experience, etc., that we'll talk about, I can categorically say Give Easy is the best platform, and you get access to Jeremy, who's sending you text messages at 10:30 at night, which is probably not a good thing, but actually it is usually a benefit on a Giving Day. So, but yeah, really excited to be here. Lots of familiar faces, or names, I should say, in the attendee list. So welcome to all those people, particularly Catherine, as you mentioned before, Jez. Really excited to talk about the work we've done with very special kids.
Cool. Thank you. So going to try something different. Haven't done one of these for a while, but you know, it's tech, so tech has to work. So we're just
Embarrassing you,
going to
didn't
start
it?
off.
This is the guy you trust with your tech, and you can't get Paul working. So let's hope it works.
It better work, right? We're just going to start off with a poll, just to get everyone in the mood. So I hope everyone can see that poll. The question is: have you run a Giving Day? 1, no, not yet. 2, yes, just 1. 3, yes, we've done a few. I'll leave everyone.
Is there like a drum roll or something?
Little bit of time. I don't know.
Yeah.
Can you guys see the answers? I can, but maybe you guys can't see them yet.
For those who don't know, it should be a little pop-up box anyway that's appeared. So
okay, looking for any last responses before we close the poll. All right, we're going to shut the poll. All right. So I hope everyone can see the results. So we got 61% of people that have yes, we've done a few. 11% yes, we've just done one, and a few that have done no. So really, if we look at, you know, if we look at the journey on Giving Days, it's pretty constant with what we're seeing in market. 2020, COVID, you know, all the events out in market got cancelled, and charities scrambled. What do I do on digital? What's the hottest thing to do on digital? Enter really the big push on Giving Days. I went back through my emails, and we were actually running a couple of Giving Days in 2019, but 2020 was really that big shift to Giving Days. And if you were running one in 2020, amazing, well done. You're now on your 5th or your 6th Giving Day. But back in 2020, it was, wow, Giving Day. God, how am I going to get that through my board? You know, how am I going to, you know, John, I don't know what you think, but you know, it was sort of emergency appeals back in March and April of 2020, but Giving Days was still in its infancy compared to today. You know, it's sort of, God, I got 5 emails from a charity on the 22nd of June, all with a match giving ask. So we're really looking for, in this webinar, what are the differentiating factors that can set you apart from the rest? I think it's clear, as far as I'm concerned, that match giving is still, to me, the #1 tactic on digital to get the best results. So a match giving ask at a Giving Day will still get you amazing results done properly.
Yeah, and also just to add what you're saying, even the 11 people that have indicated they haven't run a Giving Day before, even though we're talking about supercharging your existing Giving Day, for those who haven't done one, don't worry. Like a lot of the stuff we're talking about today, you could incorporate your first one. So don't sit there thinking, "Oh, this is not for me." It's actually not the case.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we're there is like, charities are running lots of Giving Days, but it's still a great tactic for supercharging your digital. So John, I might hand this over to you around planning and
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. And again, just following off what I said, for those who haven't done one, and you're starting from scratch, then you're in a position of advantage anyway. Because some of the things we're talking about, I've seen organisations that are running they've run 5 or 6 giving days, doing some of this stuff. First thing I'd say, and this is above and beyond just running a giving day, is the large majority of giving days are unbelievably boring, to be perfectly honest. And I'm not having a crack at the 52 people here. You might all just hang up on me. But what I mean by that is that, how many giving days you see where the name of the giving day is insert charity name giving day. The way that we see a giving day work, it is an event of sorts. Okay. So run it like an event. Even though it's only a 24-hour campaign, treat it like an event, like a community fundraising initiative. And as we often talk about to our clients, give it personality, have fun with it. One of the biggest rebuttals I get to this is, oh, we're a really serious organization that deals with death or medical research or, really, really heavy, important, serious topics. We couldn't possibly talk like that on a giving day. Like, seriously, let's not take ourselves too seriously, because at the end of the day, we're not diminishing or, underplaying the incredible work you're doing. We're just trying to get people excited for a day. They want to be part of it. People want to be involved in your giving day. Make it feel like something they want to be involved in. So the first thing starts with the naming. And we'll talk about a very special day a little bit later on. But probably one of the best examples I can give with this, which is an organisation that we've been working with the last 5 years on their giving day, is for Save the Bilby Fund. And a brilliant little organisation based up here in southeast Queensland. And I think Beck might be here from Save the Bilby Fund, so welcome back. But the campaign name for their giving day has been the same since day dot, and it's Dig Deep for the Bilbies, which, if you think about it, has kind of a double meaning to it. So it's talking about, and the illustrations that we use as the creative behind the campaign is actually showing bilbies digging burrows, digging outside the fence at Carowinya. But it's also talking about the supporters, the people we're talking to, digging deep to support the amazing work that Save the Bilby Fund is doing. And a lot of it, as I said, a lot of the campaign collateral and messaging and creative and stuff on the day is very much having fun with the idea of bilbies digging deep, and, as I said, using lots of illustration and so forth. The second part is really about the tone of the comms and the style of the comms. So I often talk about, when you think about things like appeals are very much long form. If you're sending a mail appeal, it's long form communications, long letters, lots of stuff in the pack. A giving day is over a very short period of time. And by nature of it being a digi campaign, the comms are shorter form. So what we want to do to sort of really stand out is to give it some personality. So we use lots. I'll show you on the next slide. We use lots of GIFs and emojis and memes. I'll come with them. Yep. So you can see they're a very special day. So lots of, particularly our launch emails, are very much around, it's time to have fun. This is really exciting. I've been waiting for this for weeks and weeks. The day is finally here, stop everything kind of thing. If you can just go back just to the previous slide as well. But you can see that it is something that people want to receive. And we often get the question, do people unsubscribe on the day because you send lots of comms? No, because they're really fun and they want to see them and they want to see the progress. Even if they don't at 9:05, keep them in the email stream because they want to see how the campaign's going at 10 o'clock and when you reach bonus round and when you get to your dream round and so forth. So I guess the thing is, as I said, don't take yourself too seriously. You can talk about a serious topic, do it in a way that people want to hear about. The second part to this, which is, I guess, where you can see this screenshot here, Jeremy talked before about, and one of the reasons we love GiveEasy is because, without question, it is the platform that offers, the most frictionless and easy donation experience that there is in Australia, because you can make donations in just a couple of clicks. But added to that over the last couple of years has been the introduction of MMS on top of SMS. So SMS as a concept works brilliantly on giving days. Why? Because it's instantaneous, because 98% of people read their text message in a couple of minutes, and we don't do the same with our email. So email is the main driver, but you have to support it with SMS. The challenge you have with SMS, of course, is it's not free like email. So there's a cost attached to it. And one of the things we recommend is you don't necessarily just have to blast every single person that has a mobile number. Be strategic about it. If you've got somebody who was a value exchange lead 8 years ago, you're probably not going to spend money on them to send an SMS or an MMS. If they're a current cash appeal donor, they gave to last year's giving day, they've got a transactional history, you'd probably have them at the top of the hierarchy and think, we might send them an MMS and an SMS. So think about the way that you build that hierarchy. But just very quickly, MMS, so you can see here, multimedia message, you've got a video embedded in it. Here's a screenshot of one we did for very special kids this year. I think the thing that I love particularly about MS, not only does it differentiate itself from other forms of SMS, but one of the things that people are very paranoid about these days are scam messages. And so when you actually see the way that an MS like this is on an Android, I think, but even on an Android or an iPhone, how it renders, is that it looks legitimate. The level of, sorry, the layer of video adds a level of legitimacy to the message. It doesn't look like a scam by having somebody send you, like whether it's Michael or one of his team, send you a video within it. So it's a brilliant way to launch giving days, and particularly because you can have different people from the organisation, whether it's somebody who works in the hospice, you might have a shelter manager at an animal welfare organisation that's holding an animal. There are so many different and cool things you can do with
Yeah.
MMS.
I mean, I love the 1-2 of MMS on launch and
Mm.
then SMS. We've seen amazing results with SMS with 1 hour to go.
Yeah,
Last chance, get us over the line. We're still short. So it actually works so many different in a good way where the donor isn't getting two SMSs within 24 hours. They're getting one
yeah,
MMS that's a bit different, and then
yeah,
they've got that same chain where they're getting that SMS.
yeah,
In some cases where there's, we still need to raise $24,565 with 1 hour to go. That last SMS actually sometimes brings in even more money than the MMS. But it's that
absolutely.
combo of actually this is urgent. This is not just a normal ask. This is a giving day.
Yeah,
And I think I'm hearing that charities boards and upper management like it as well because it's different and it's unique and it's something different.
yeah,
MMS reliability has significantly improved as well in Australia.
yeah.
A couple of years ago, it was a lot more unreliable than what it was today.
Yeah, and I think you remember I told you a story a little while ago of a client who ran a giving day a few months ago. They had a situation which they didn't realise until after the event, whereby a big chunk of people, and particularly high value donors, had actually been excluded from the email comms
Yeah,
on the day. It was an oversight. These things happen, and they made a huge amount, like six figures from SMS on the day, which is
yeah,
ridiculous. And one particular SMS late in the afternoon made, I think, something like 40 grand from one
mm,
SMS, which was extraordinary, and we couldn't understand why. But it turns out later on, the reason why they did so well is because this group of donors who were excluded from the email comms were not excluded from SMS. So all of a sudden, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, they've gone, "Oh, that Giving Day's on today. I didn't
yeah,
realise it was today. Oh, okay." And just the fact that they received the SMS from their organisation they trust, that they responded to in the past, that was enough to
mm,
remind them why they needed to support on that giving day,
mm,
as long as the match offer and so forth.
yeah,
And it made a huge amount of money. So it just doesn't, I think you used the word for support. It does an amazing job of supporting email. And I
yeah,
think any type of campaign where you want to have a SMS and MMS component, absolutely giving day is the right
yeah.
one. Cool. Sorry, where are we? Okay, next
Yeah.
slide. Sorry. There's a question about MS and SMS. I might just quickly answer that, Jez, which was, is there any uplift in engagement for MMS versus SMS? The short answer is yes. I mean, it obviously differs for each client, but there's no doubt that MMS outpulls SMS for those people who get both. Probably, but for our experience, probably 2 to 3 times the level of SMS. There is a slightly increased cost, so you need to factor that in. But I guess the point I made earlier, which is have a think about like just looking at the data, who do you think is more likely to respond to an MS? It's people who have a financial history, are really engaged, have responded before. It's your best donors. And then you work your way down and to think of who's the next best group versus those who may be not worth spending money on. I'll move on, conscious of time. So a couple other things to think about that will help kind of boost your giving day. So Teams fundraising, the interesting one, Jess. We don't necessarily always have this activated with clients. And there are some organisations that are really well geared to having or asking people to set up teams and fundraise under the auspices of a team. The obvious ones are hospital foundations, which and I'd imagine by extension of this, any organisations that are running alumni programs, whereby in a hospital situation you have staff, particularly in a hospital, that and departments, I should say, that are naturally kind of set up to fundraise as teams. And there's often a competitive element to that as well. The other example, which I'll talk about a little later on, is the VSK, Very Special Kids example, which is where you have a situation where where maybe you're a medical research or cancer organisation, or in this case, Very Special Kids helping children with life-limiting illnesses, where somebody may have lost somebody, and that organisation has helped that family. And so often it's an opportunity to remember to give gratitude and thanks. And that's a really lovely way to do it, and to fundraise within your circle and your friends by setting up a team. The other opportunity is maybe there's an incentive to do it. Maybe you can have a competitive element and look at people who are the highest fundraisers by setting up teams. The other thing, which I didn't add there to the bullet points, but something to consider, is if you've run 3 giving days and you've got 95% of the people who you're contacting every year are not responding, but 5% are, then in the 4th year, would you go back to the 95% of people and ask them to do the same thing if they haven't responded in the first 3 years? The answer is probably not. So you might have a big chunk of people who are prospects on your giving day, in your giving day audience, but they haven't responded. So I guess the question is, would you try something different? Would you ask them to fundraise on your behalf rather than support the giving day? So that's another thing to consider. This second bullet point here is probably a big change for us in the last 12 months, and we're seeing amazing results through this, which is about your mail appeal donors. So most organisations, Jeremy, run their giving days, not all, but around the sort of shoulder appeal season. So we know sort of February through April, August through October are the big giving day seasons, right? And a lot of organisations have replaced their shoulder appeals, which don't perform that well anymore, with giving days. However, what happens if you've got a group of people who are mail only? Like they may have given you a mobile number or email address, but they don't respond to it, or you literally only have a mailing address for them. Are we giving them the opportunity to be part of the giving day? Well, the short answer is most instances no. So why let those people fall through the cracks? Consider sending a really simple, cheap, and short mail pack or letter to your mail only donors, and tell them about the giving day coming up, and give them the opportunity to pledge through the post and have the donation processed on the day of the giving day. As I said, we've seen a huge uplift with organisations who are really it's low-hanging fruit because it's income they may not have had before, and we're finding those people will respond. They get FOMO. They don't want to miss out. And the last point on this slide is, and again, another big one for us, everyone kind of thinks that the matching is the be-all and end-all on a giving day. And look, it's incredibly important, and you need to secure a significant amount of match funding in the lead up to the giving day itself. However, don't have to panic, and it's not completely done and dusted once the matching runs out. And we're seeing increasingly now organisations delivering huge amounts of public funding after the matching runs out. So my advice here is, whatever level of matching you have, when the matching is still available in the early part of the day, let the matching do the work. Okay, so we all get impatient on giving days and sit there and press refresh 1,000 times and see the tally go up. Be really patient. Don't use all your comms at the front end of the day and send one email when you've got 25% of target and 50 and 75, and send another SMS, and all of a sudden you've got your bonus round and you've sent 6 communications at 12 o'clock. That's crazy. Save some of them. Keep them up your sleeve. And what I'm saying by that is, once your matching runs out, then send more communications to say to people, hey, matching's run out, but we still would really love to get to this target. Please help us get there. It's still really important. And as I said, we are seeing more and more organisations do really well. We had a giving day a couple of weeks ago for a client. They secured close to $250,000 of matching, which is amazing. Their very first giving day. But a big organisation with a huge data set, and they had run out of matching by about 11 a.m., even though they had almost $250,000 matching. So you could sit there and go, oh, that's a disaster. Everything's done. They made another $300,000 post the matching running out, which is phenomenal. Now, that's an outlier. I don't ever want to write that down. So, John, I think you make another 300 grand. But the point is, they were really strategic about the way they communicated in the early part of the day. And then afterwards, they kept running comms, but they had a lot up their sleeve.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose you do all the hard work, Jono. You send three emails out before the day telling everyone how big this day is.
Correct.
You don't want to just be packing up after 11 or 12 p.m. on the day going, okay, job's done. I think it sort of destroys all momentum.
Exactly.
Even within the organization.
Yeah, exactly. So plan for it, I guess, is the point I'm trying to make. Sorry,
Yeah.
just before we move on, somebody just asked a question in the chat. I just wanted to bring this up because it's kind of important. Somebody's asked us to explain the concept of matching. So I know we've sort of talked about, most people here have done giving days, but just for clarification. So the matching is really gifts that have been secured in the lead up to the day, usually from individuals, but sometimes from corporate partners, who are essentially using their lead gift as an opportunity or an offer to have everyone else's donations on the day matched. So if the corporate donor or an individual says, I'm going to give $10,000 on the day, then that allows the organisation to offer to their audience that every donation that they make up to the value of $10,000 is going to be matched one for one by that individual, that generous corporate individual. So that's the thing that really underpins Giving Days and the thing that's different than say any other campaign. So I just wanted to cover that one off because it's kind of important.
Important. No,
yeah.
really important. Yeah, I mean, I might just chime in here. I mean,
yeah.
the Giving Days that we've seen that have absolutely shut the lights out, they're not just being run by the fundraising and marketing department of the organization. It's all in. You know, it's where the CEO is on Channel 9 or on Sunrise at 6 a.m. in the morning talking about the Giving Day, all the way down. You know, whether everyone in the organization can stop work is another matter, but it's not just another tax campaign or another Christmas campaign. And that's the beauty of a Giving Day, that it's whole of organization, and that's where what Jono was saying about having a bit of fun, about not just churning out the same comms as you do at tax, and it lends itself to getting brand ambassadors and partners, and teams with what Jono said, but it needs the planning. Teams don't just miraculously sign up on the day. Your ambassador doesn't miraculously find out about the Giving Day on the day of the Giving Day. It's preparing the comms, it's preparing the LinkedIn post, it's signing up the peer-to-peer fundraisers before the day. It's getting the whole of organization and their various stakeholders aligned before the day. And I agree with you, Jono, that it may not be on year one. Year one's the proof of concept, the learning year. Okay, let's go with the email and the SMS or the MMS and maybe some offline mail. Great, we've got a baseline. Year 2, year 3, year 4. Okay, great, we've got the baseline. How are we going to increase that by 50%? Let's introduce the team concept. Introducing it, not sabotaging your amazing email and MMS audience by confusing them with, do you want to make a donation or sign up as a team? And in the end, that donor that was always going to give $1,000 actually is completely confused by the whole experience.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a good point because ultimately the biggest driver, or the biggest two drivers of success for a Giving Day are securing the matching and getting the makeup of the communications in data right. So the series of emails, SMSs, the platform, all that kind of sounds quite boring, but being really ruthless and disciplined about having all the direct marketing parts of the Giving Day working really, really well. All this stuff you're talking about, as you said, it helps add another layer to it, usually in years 2, 3, and 4, and having ambassadors come in, having people make phone calls and all that sort of stuff on the outside is a nice to have, certainly in your first year, but it's the sort of things that you can add later on that might add value.
Cool. So let's talk about on the day. And this is where my smile hits my face, which is around like, let's talk about the tech element and automating things. I've been on too many WhatsApp calls with Jono at 11:45 p.m. at night, where the charity has $3,000 or $4,000 to go until they hit their bonus goal, and the multiplier is about to change. Everyone's very happy, but also exhausted and wants to go to sleep. But everyone's always worried about, maybe I'll hit that bonus round at 11:30 at night, and we've run out of match funding, and what happens in the morning if we've run out of match funding, and will I get in trouble, and I need to stay up until 2 a.m. in the morning. So one of my main missions when we rebuilt the Give Easy platform was to introduce automation to Giving Days, to allow organizations to do all the heavy lifting on tech before the day itself. I get very excited about this. It is game changing for Giving Days, but it effectively will allow, or does allow, charities to set up their entire Giving Day platform before the day, to go through all those page flow automation steps, to work out what experience they want to show their donor when the Giving Day launches, what experience on that donation page they want to show when they've hit their bonus round, when they've hit their thank you, when they've hit their second bonus round, when they've hit their dream round, potentially at 10 a.m. in the morning with 1 hour to go. You can set all this up before the day. So even though I do love those texts and those emojis at 10:30 at night, Jono, we can all go to
Not that
bed.
much.
We
Yeah,
can
yeah.
we can go to bed. And for those of you that have run a giving day, um, it sounds simple. Let's just update things on the day, but everyone's exhausted. Everyone's got emails to send, suppression lists, people to call, um, ambassadors to speak to, new lists. The last thing you want to be doing is being up to update anything. I do love this. This is from the Shepherd Center. They actually ran a giving month in the month of September, and they were able to come up with a whole lot of variations depending on where if they were at 100,000 on the 15th of September versus 150 on the fifth on the 150,000 on that same day. What page state were they going to show their donors? All set up before the month started.
Yeah.
Hyper personalized, fits in really nicely with personalized URLs. The whole experience is personalized based on amount and time-based triggers.
Yeah.
And it's something that works well and just relieves that stress and um, uh, that fear of, oh, if I update something at 11:30 at night and my Wi-Fi isn't amazing and I'm not sure whether I'll be able to test the mobile experience. So you know what, I won't do it. I won't do it. It's
Yeah.
just a shame, right? You've spent so much time personalizing, refining, working on it. Give your donors at every step of the way, as John has said, it's a journey. It's a journey from go live a week before to the day to the 24 hours or the 12 hours to thanking that donor and celebrating. Personalize the experience, but set it all up before the day, and let Give Easy do the work.
Yeah, you want to make you as you use the word stress. So you want to have as little stress as possible on a giving day. So you can do all the things that make a difference. Being able to talk to your donors, talk to your match givers, give them updates on how things are going, troubleshoot if other things are going wrong. If you can not have to worry about this,
Yeah,
it's one less thing on your checklist to do. Just a couple of other questions that come through, Jez. I thought might just
yeah,
to give us a bit of a break before we go on the next slide. A couple of
sure.
people have asked about the timings in terms of the giving day comms and when we should start communicating. Our advice, this is from Fed, and what we do with our clients is we would recommend launching, for want of a better term, your giving day around about a week beforehand, which doesn't feel like a lot of time, but there's a couple of reasons for that. And one of them is the whole purpose of a giving day and why I think they're really unique is it's a very short, sharp build up and the day itself. But that's what kind of makes it a little bit special. It's happening next week. Get in your diary. There's no time to waste. This is happening next Tuesday, et cetera, et cetera. So we find that really helps build a lot of excitement in a very short period of time. And the other thing is it's a bit of a fail-safe as well, in the sense that sending an email out 4 6 weeks prior to the giving day and telling people that it's happening. If something happens and you have to move it, which we've had several giving days that
Yeah,
have been moved for lots of different reasons, your match giver might have fallen through at the last minute. You haven't quite got the matching you need. More importantly, or more sort of relevant, I should say, or recent, this year we had a couple of giving days that were due to happen right around the time of Cyclone Alfred here in
yeah,
southeast Queensland. So we had to move those giving days. Now, fortunately, we hadn't quite launched them at that time, but we had the ability to then say, this is happening, this is coming up. Let's move it back a couple of weeks until things have sort of settled down. So, yeah, in reality, you don't really need to tell people until a few days beforehand. And then you probably have 1 or 2 emails in the 1 or 2 days beforehand to say, hey, it's happening in 2 days' time. Hey, it's happening tomorrow. And save the comms, really, save the comms for the day itself.
yeah. I could just do one more quick question, just around doing an in-person public-facing event as part of a giving day. Have you done that in conjunction with the digital campaign? We've seen launches at a in-person event. A gala dinner that launches the 24 hours. It's worked really, really well. Where we're starting the giving day now. We send everyone a pre-filled short link SMS with all their details pre-filled, making it really simple and easy. It's match giving, right? Like we know that people give more with match giving. There's an MC, so absolutely, it's part of that multi-channel approach. and will excite people to give. So yeah, doing an in-person public-facing event as part of a giving day. We've done them. They work well. It's one channel. So long as the MC knows what they're doing and can get the pitch right and the SMSs are sent or MMSs are sent exactly at the right time during the pitch, absolutely really well. All right, we
The
might
other,
we might.
sorry,
Mhm.
last thing on that, Jez, is we've had a few examples. Really beautiful organisation we've done a lot of giving days with in New Zealand called Sweet Louise, who every year hosts an event on the day on site for their matches and their high value donors. So it's a thank you event. So it's not necessarily about generating more income on the day, but it's about the recognition and the thanking and the gratitude for those people who really make the giving day happen.
Yeah, cool. Um, yeah, just conscious of time. Yeah, so other things that you can do on your giving day page or on your donation page. I know, Jono, you call these social proofing. I love that
Mm.
term. And it's, and they're very specific to giving days. Having a goal, uh, allowing that live tracker to update in real time. If you can, have a little image that makes it stand out from your normal appeal as it tracks across. Obviously, some organizations can, some can't. Comments are mainstream. Again, 2020 was the rise and rise of comments. Before 2020, it's like, oh no, not for me. I can't stick those on my tax appeal. Um, COVID came along, everyone was isolated. Comments was an amazing way to allow donors to feel connected. I know, Jono, on direct mail, donors are able to send back with
Bounce backs and stuff like that. Yep,
yeah,
yep.
but now comments are mainstream across appeals, but really relevant across giving days. Having a number to show the number of donations that have been made is great because you're part of it. You're part of that community. If you see a large number, of course I want to be part of that. I want to be the 1,454th donor. Showing that they're missing out. In a way. Having that match multiplier on the page is absolutely mainstream, but really, really important. Allowing supporters to share, sticking that on the thank you page. Again, it's
Mm.
not like everyone's going to share the campaign, but allow them to take that extra step. Give them something else to do, and you'd be surprised. At least it will get the campaign out there. And then teams. If you do have teams, showing a leaderboard, showing that on the main page, creating competition. Um, we've seen in recent time where you have a relatively closed community, you have these competition to be the number one. I want to be the first. I want to be number one on that leaderboard. All of these things helps build momentum and changes it just from that standard tax appeal or that Christmas appeal into a giving day. John, have I missed anything there?
Not really. My only thing just to add to that is you've got some example of the comments there, but for a lot of our clients who, you're talking about really kind of personal subject matter, potentially talking about loss and remembrance. One of the clients we've got runs a campaign around Mother's Day, so it's all about gratitude towards mums. Some of the comments that are shared are just beautiful, and they give you
Yeah,
goosebumps when you read them. And so, there's no doubt that adds to, as we talked about before, the level of social proofing. But it's also some beautiful stuff. Just as an organisation, giving days themselves are a really celebratory thing to do. And
yeah,
so I think it's a really, the sort of non-financial, less tangible side of giving days is how wonderful it makes people feel about the work they do from an organisation perspective. You can't measure the impact that has on your senior leadership and your board and your volunteers and your donors, being able to see in this kind of like organizational vacuum what people think of the work you do, which I think,
yeah.
yeah, said you can't put a value on that.
Cool. Yeah, and then like this is planning on the day stuff, but it's also important to take a breath before the day and have some backup plans. As Jono sort of said, I think you referred to a charity leaving out a whole segment on emails.
Mhm.
I've seen giving days where a donor has donated $20,000, no joke, rather than $2,000. That's actually sent the campaign into a bonus round, right? I've
Hmm.
seen a matched giver, so someone that's committed match giving funds, put $50,000, which was a match giving into the public pool funds. Things happen. It's high intensity, and just being able to plan and be reviewing and have someone be looking constantly at those donations for any outliers. Being able, like, on the Give Easy platform, you can even see who's tried to attempt to make a donation and maybe just decided to, maybe they want to pay via bank, and maybe you call those people up and actually solicit the donation. So having someone that's monitoring things from a donation point of view, whether it's offline donations, when to put the offline donations through, strategic rather than, oh, great, we've just got all this money, let's just plow it all in through. So there's strategy behind it. But it's really important that, for those organizations that haven't run, that you have someone that's there, that's looking at donations as they come through. And I'm sure that those that have run one before um, will go, oh wow, next year we're going to think about that. Just looking at the questions just really quickly, and I am conscious that we have a very special kids case study to get through. But just really quickly around, are there certain seasons that giving days perform better than others, i.e. pre-Christmas? I mean, I can just maybe say one line on that, which is, if you're an organization, again, John, it's easier said than done, but if you have a special day, World Wombat Day, National Heart Day, something that resonates, absolute World Refugee Day. I think Sabina's here from ASRC. That's your day. You're running your giving day on that every year. It really acknowledging that some organizations don't have that. Jono, what would be your
Yeah,
sense if?
true. That's nice to have, and if you can make that fit and work, then fantastic. Particularly, you'll get more organisational buy-in. But from a fundraising perspective and a capacity perspective, um, shoulder appeal season is what I'd say.
Yeah.
So February through April and August through October are the definite peaks for our clients. And admittedly, a lot of our clients aren't doing shoulder appeals because they're probably the smaller and medium-sized organisations. So in many respects, those giving days have replaced shoulder appeals. But we also have clients that do them during tax season, and they're sort of an add-on to tax or in the lead up to Christmas. So there isn't a bad time to do them. I think the other part of the question was, no, there's not a bad time to do it. But
Yeah.
you obviously need to factor in other things. If you're running it in November and you're running alongside your Christmas appeal, how does that work? Do you have a huge number of digital donors and prospects, and so
Mm,
therefore it's not robbing Peter to pay Paul? Or are you robbing Peter to pay Paul, in which case you're probably not going to run alongside a
yeah.
major appeal? So
But
I think in short, it would say shoulder appeals.
But I wouldn't be running one on a Saturday if you had a choice to not run one on the Saturday, put it that way.
Oh, yeah, it's a good point. Quit days of the week. Yeah, we
Yeah,
tend to go Thursday best, Wednesday second best, Tuesday third best. But it's flexible. Don't run on a Monday or Friday because you're running it over 24 hours. Usually, we tend to run
yeah,
24 hours. So if you start at 9 a.m. on the Thursday, you're going to finish 9 a.m. Friday. You don't want to
yeah,
finish on a Saturday. So try and do middle of the week. I guess is the
yeah.
short answer.
Cool. Jono, we got 10 minutes to get
Okay.
through the rest. So
Yeah. Okay.
do you want to just cover this slide?
Very quickly then, yeah. So kind of what happens thereafter? Well, the first thing you do is obviously once the campaign's finalised is ideally and quite quickly is do a sort of catch-all thank you email and update to those incredible people that have supported. And whether you do that via SMS, whether you do that via email, and also, do it again within a few weeks afterwards, just to let them know the impact of their support. One of the best examples I saw of this was a few years ago, the organisation I mentioned before, Sweet Louise, where they sent an email about a week after, and they talked about the amount of money raised, but they actually talked about the fact that as a result of the money raised from that very first giving day, they'd already put out a job ad for a volunteer coordinator to actually have, another support coordinator as part of their volunteer team to actually help mums or women living with stage 4 breast cancer. So directly linked the fact that the giving day had helped them recruit a new person to help those women who desperately need it. So talk about closing the loop. It's kind of really
Yeah.
the nirvana of that. So I might skip through that, just conscious of other bits that are probably a little bit more pressing to get to. Just very quickly, what do you do when you wrap up the campaign and review it? There's a lot of navel gazing. Oh, you did this versus last year, and this is when all the money came in. I mean, usually the money comes in direct correlation to when you've sent stuff out, or when the matching's still live. The three things that we kind of focus on when you're wrapping up and reviewing a campaign, the most important, are things like And the question earlier about MMS versus SMS, well, how did that perform? So if you look at channels, so you've got emails, SMS, MMS, mail, unsolicited website, all that sort of stuff. So what are the things that are going to really change things next year? Well, maybe you worked out that MMS is by far and away outpulled SMS, and next year you need to spend more money to do more MMS. That's a really critical strategic decision that you need to make. Second to that is the source. So, for example, are people responding to the email? And as I mentioned earlier, what if you've got people who haven't responded to the last 3 campaigns via email? Maybe they're better off doing something different. Maybe next year you find a way to get them to raise money on your behalf through a team rather than actually ask them directly. And the other thing is, particularly, this is sort of like appeals, where's most of the money coming from? And the thing about your high value performance, whether we call that middle high value, $500 and above, is that, like in appeals, it's sort of the Pareto principle, isn't it? Most of your money is going to come from a small group of people. And if you're securing new donations particularly, but also anyone who's giving a mid or high value donation through a giving day, they are people who you should be targeting to be your matches in the subsequent year. So what can you do with those people moving forward?
Cool.
We talk too much.
Yeah, cool.
But we've been answering the questions as we go. So
yeah,
I think we're doing all right.
We've probably got about 5 or 6 minutes to cover this.
Okay.
But I'll let Jono set the scene. But I was just like, this was the first year that Give Easy was involved with the Giving Day. I've been watching this Giving Day for the last 6 or 7 years, waiting for the time to pounce. And with our brand new platform, this was the year. And it was amazing working with Catherine and the team at Very Special Kids and Jono, and the team on this. I might let Jono set the scene. You've worked on this for the last five years.
Yep, absolutely. So big shout out to the guys. There's a few of the guys in the here today, so thanks for coming along. I better not stuff this up because they're watching and listening. It's been a real treat. So 5 years we've been working on this campaign, and even just going back to the start in terms of when they first ran this Giving Day. If you think about the name, so the organisation's name is Very Special Kids, which is just beautiful. And for those who don't know, it's the only children's hospice in Victoria and helps children with life-limiting illnesses. And when we sort of came up with this concept, you might think, gee, we're really creative coming up with a name that basically used 2 of the 3 words out of the organisation's name. But it does what it says on the tin. And every time I even mention it, I get goosebumps because ultimately it really is a very special day. It is about celebrating the amazing work that Very Special Kids does. But it's also about the gratitude from families of children who've been helped in the past, so remembering children who are no longer with us. And that name really encapsulates that quite beautifully. So I quite happily say this is one of my absolute favourite campaigns we work on every single year. I think it's a really beautiful combination illustration of what makes Giving Days great. And that's a combination of community fundraising through teams. It's a combination of really good major gifts, the matching component. And then it's a wonderful sort of mixture of digital fundraising, which I think even just seeing the screen here, and obviously this is a nice little plug for you, Jeremy, but just even the way that the campaign came across this year, and beautiful donation pages, really beautiful, creative, celebrating the incredible work that Very Special Kids does. Interestingly, and kind of a bit of an outlier for us, the Very Special Day for Very Special Kids is their biggest cash appeal of the year, which is quite unusual. For most organisations, it might be second beyond tax or third beyond tax and Christmas. For Very Special Kids, it's actually number 1. Just go back a step, Jez. So this year, just very quickly, it was the 5th year, made about 600K, as you can see there, which was pretty equally split between matching and public funding. About 1,500 donations on the day. So you can see there, the average gift for the public component is about $200 thereabouts. 13 fundraisers set up, which I think accounted for about $40,000, including matching, so about 20,000. So it's not a huge component, but it can be, and it has been for these guys in the past. And as I mentioned, because these are usually families setting up pages to remember a child who's no longer with us. Just one thing I'll touch on with this, and Jeremy, we were talking before about ambassadors and so forth, and the teams and ambassadors part has been really critical for Very Special Kids. A couple of years ago, VSK opened their brand new hospice in Melbourne, which is amazing, and they actually did the opening, of the hospice happened to be, or the other way around, the Giving Day happened to be on the same day as the opening of the hospice, which is incredible because they had lots of luminaries there and opening up the hospice, lots of their major donors and so forth. So we had a huge day. It was a very successful Giving Day ever because we had a public event, to Laura's question earlier. But what was also fascinating is 3AW has been a long partner, and Neil Mitchell and has been a long partner of a Very Special Kids. He broadcast live on the day from the hospice. I think from memory that the team that Neil and 3AW set up made about $40,000 excluding matching, which again is a bit of an outlier, but it also shows the power, I guess, of partnership and ambassadors, and having somebody like that. And everyone who knows Neil, a very influential public figure who was broadcasting live, for the morning of the giving day itself. So, as I said, it's a wonderful combination of lots of different things, and as a result of that, it's been an incredibly successful campaign. VSK. But do you want to show the pages, Jez, in terms of the difference?
Cool.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure whether everyone can see the uniqueness here, but these were set up before the day. So Give Easy Automation Flow took that campaign through from pre-giving day to it's 9 a.m. in the morning, we're going live, to we've hit 50% of our goal, to we're in a bonus round, to we're in a dream goal, to thank you. So all of this could be completely changed, and was changed depending on where VSK was on the day. And I can't stress enough, this was all set up before the day. So no touching tech, no touching anything. And what made music to my ears, is Catherine on the call? Sorry.
Yeah, I think she is. Yeah.
Sorry. Like, this was like the feel-good moment, I think, of the year for me, which was, I knew that Catherine and the team were trying to get a Salesforce integration going with Give Easy. And we'd had a call on the Friday before the giving day. It's like, oh yeah, I think it will happen. And to be honest with you, I was like, really? Like, they're going to go live with a Salesforce integration on giving day? And so we were having some early morning email conversations, and I emailed her that morning and I said, hoping, are we live? And she wrote back, yes, we are. And like, it was just unbelievable. Salesforce with a brand new giving day client going live on their biggest day. And it's gone really well. We've
Just
done
on
well,
that, guess.
Jono.
I think we've done okay. There's a couple other questions I've just
But
picked up
yeah,
while you were
so
talking then.
please feel free. We got 5 minutes for questions. I'm conscious that people do need to go to a meeting at 12. So, but please feel free to put some questions through.
Can I just pick up one here?
I hope we've given everyone on the call some really key tangible insights that they can take away for their next giving day or for their first giving day. We also, just before we get to the questions, we do have an offer between Fed and Give Easy, where we're very happy to sit down with you and workshop with you what your next giving day could look like, and give you some suggestions as to what it could do and what you could achieve. But please feel free to, if there are any questions, please put them in the chat box. We're just going to go through these.
The one I might answer first, Jez. Yeah, there's one here about cost and income.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure I can share all the intimate costs for that particular campaign. However, what it has reminded me that we didn't talk about. The thing about giving days is that, for the most part, your audience is people who already know who you are. Okay, so it's your donors and your prospects. So people are already on your database. That is your audience for a giving day. Many organisations want to make giving days about acquisition. And in most instances, that doesn't work. There's always an exception to the rule. So please don't send me an email or text me and tell me that's not true. There are exceptions to the rule. However, a couple of things. First of all, most organizations, and VSK is a great example of this, are doing ongoing rolling acquisition outside of giving days. So you don't need to use a one-day campaign to maximize your acquisition efforts. And secondly, that's the point. It's a 24-hour campaign. It's very difficult to optimize a campaign that runs for 24 hours. Okay, so make the giving day about the people who already know who you are. So in answer to the question about costs, and I'm going to put aside things like if you hire an agency, but your costs for the giving day, really, first of all, your people time, but the actual direct costs are things like your platform costs, your SMS and MMS costs.
Donor pays now, Jono. Donor pays.
Yeah, donor pays, but even so, like whether you do the donor pays model or you pay Give Easy or partners, whatever. But there really should be a huge direct cost. It's really the time it takes to do it. So I wouldn't be spending money on acquisition, and I also wouldn't be doing things like paying for radio ads or outbound telemarketing calls. Just make it about getting the direct marketing stuff right, the emails, the SMS, the MMS, the inbound calls, all that kind of stuff. And it's really about the time it takes you to set up the campaign, secure the matches, and so forth.
Yeah, cool.
What else? What else we got here, Jess?
Just a question around Give Easy and Zapier. Yep. So we've done Salesforce. Razor's Edge will be done by the end of the year. And then the next lot of integrations will happen next year. I think there's one more question from Di Lacey. Will you be what happens if you don't reach your goal?
I can answer that.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you
So,
want to answer? Do you want to answer
no,
it?
you go. You go.
I think there's a couple of things on that. I think for those people who run a giving day, the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh year, or whatever, that shouldn't happen because in reality, you know what you're aiming for and you know what's realistic based on year one. For those who haven't run one, it is a little more difficult because there is an element of like educated guessing based on your level of matching and how much you secure through your public funding. However, that being said, you still should have a steer in terms of how much you're thinking you raise based on
Yeah.
the audiences you have and also the matching, but set yourself up for success. Set your goal a little bit lower than you think is actually realistic so that you are celebrating at some point in the day the fact you've hit your first round and hopefully then set yourself into bonus round.
Yeah.
That's the short version. Yeah, you
I
set
might just
yourself up for
add,
success.
I've seen organizations that out there that haven't hit their goal because they've obviously haven't planned right. And their first
Correct.
idea is let's extend the giving day. It fails. All the momentum
100%.
goes out of the campaign. The donor, it actually can destroy your brand because you've set
Yeah.
a 24-hour window and all of a sudden you're losing trust of your donors. You're going, hey, good news, we can now match. So there is that tendency, if you haven't set the right goal, to then go, let's extend. The campaign
Yeah.
I've seen from a distance, it doesn't actually bring in any material income. But
It's the
any
point is you've set yourself up for failure rather than success.
yeah. Any final questions before we
I think we've
sign?
covered them all, mate, by the looks of it, unless anyone's
Are
got
there?
any now, but everyone's probably wants the 1 minute to spare. We've done pretty well. So maybe we'll
Yeah.
wrap up and let everyone get on with their day.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Jono. Thanks so much.
Thanks, team. Thanks,
Really,
everyone.
really good to do this with you, and wishing everyone lots of good luck and success with upcoming Christmas campaigns.
See you
Well,
guys.
thanks,
See you,
guys.
Jez.
Bye.
See you guys.